geeks, welcome back to Geek of Chic. I'm your host, Ava Ramito, and we have the good fortune of having Sylvia Heisel here in the studio. And she's here to talk to us about some cool 3D printings that you can wear.
Thanks. I'm honored to be here. This is so cool.
We're so happy to have you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I read a little bit about you, and I know that you're one of Wow Women's top 100 women, which is amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So I was a fashion designer for a long time, and I kind of burnt out on that, and I started moving into, well, what was new? And a lot of that is designed for wearables. And how can you take wearable products and make them look good and make them, user-friendly and human-friendly and beautiful? And also then from wearables into 3D printing, and how can we make clothes that are 3D printed and use this new technology? So
I mean, we are in the future, so that's pretty cool.
So I made it, I was totally honored.
So since you're using now more the 3D printing technology, how does that play into textiles? I mean, we wear things, but when you think about 3D printed stuff, it's pretty rigid, like these here glasses. They're durable, they're great for prototyping things, but how does that fit into something you wear?
I think fashion is kind of behind other industries on this. Additive manufacturing is this amazing technology that's been around for over 30 years now, but it's just starting to get to a point where we can do flexible things and we can make things like clothes. Sewing is the oldest mass technology still in use in the world. Out of every major way that you make things, it hasn't changed in over 150 years.
Well, when I think about 3D printing, how does that change the way you put together clothes? Normally, because of the sewing and because of all these things, that's pretty hard to do. Does that change the way you think about like new knits and how you design these clothes and how they lay on the body?
I think it changes it a lot. I think knitwear is way ahead of sewn fabrics and things also, but even with knitwear, most of it is still about taking flat pieces and assembling them. I mean, why do we have seams? We have seams under our arms and between our legs with clothing, because that's what you could do with flat pieces of fabric, joining them together. And if you're really working in 3 dimensions, you can eliminate those seams. You can put seams in other places. You can make clothes that couldn't have existed in the past.
That's amazing. So would this make it easier to make customizable clothes? I mean, everyone has that experience. You go shopping and things fit a little weird. Not everyone's the same size. Some people are shorter, like me.
You'll have a body scan, and
Cool thing at the airport where you put your arms up, that kind of deal.
Cool thing or not cool thing, depending on how you look at it. But the fact that you'll have a body scan, and instead of having a size, and instead of going, oh, well, I'm a 4, I'm a 12, I'm a whatever, you'll just have a complete digital file, and then that will be either matched up with the clothes that exist that are the closest to your size, or clothes will be custom made exactly to your size.
That's amazing. There's all these different technologies. How do we jump into that as someone who doesn't have a science background? How would you go about it? How did you go about it?
I think you jump in. And I think there is one of the really cool things now is how much you can just jump in and start making things and start on a small scale with a $200 desktop printer, or going to a hackerspace that has a $2,000 desktop printer and the material cost is almost nothing, and just making stuff. We started the first things that we made ever. My first introduction to 3D printing was at Maker Faire.
Geeks, geek hobbyists.
Geeks that do fashion and do wearables.
Awesome. Yeah. That's so cool.
At the time it was just a kit. And so we came up with these iPhone cases, which are, WTF.
We have one of those moments every day, right? Everyone could use this.
That was the first thing. And since then we really started working on clothing.
I've got some on right now. So could you tell me a little bit about this material and how it works?
Sure. So this vest, it's a flexible material called Ninja Flex on the bottom, and then the top, the honeycomb, is a carbon fiber PLA by a company called Protopasta.
So am I bulletproof right now? Just asking for a friend.
You are not bulletproof. Sorry. The original, this was a test piece as we're developing vests that are solar powered and have then a heating element inside it Yeah.
That's amazing. For a person who's always cold in the winter, that would be the best coat. Here's one of your other pieces. This is a dress.
Yes, we were trying to see how thin and how soft we could get so it really felt like a textile. This is Ninja Flex again, and it's super light and flexible.
It's so soft. I'm kind of surprised at how flexible it is. It's amazing.
Part of the exciting thing with 3D printing also is that it's so much in the file design that you can do to start tweaking it, and nobody's really exploring that of how soft, how flexible, how interesting you can make it, and how much you can make it like a textile.
And we got some really cool designs here on our geek model, Natasha Palick. Can you tell us a little bit more about your wearables?
Sure. So this is a coat we did for a technology lounge in London, and they wanted, as opposed to the idea of 3D printed clothes being custom fitted, they wanted something where everyone could put it on. So they were like, just make it really, really big. So we came up with this coat, and it took 400 hours of print time.
That's a good bit of time, but look how cool this looks. Totally worth it.
And if you printed this now, it would take less than half the time. This was done 2 years ago.
So you must have had a ton of people wear this then, if it was meant to fit everyone.
Yeah, this has been worn by a lot of people. And then when they sent it back to us, it was crazy because
It's alive.
totally indestructible. And I think that's one of the cool things of having clothes. You want clothes that are totally compostable, where you wear it a couple of times. It was cheap. It doesn't harm the environment. You toss it, you get rid of it. It biodegrades. And then you want other things where they're really going to last, and they're special pieces, and you're going to care about them, and you're going to put the time into making them and wear them and keep them. And this is one of those.
Indestructible clothing. Coming soon. Well, thank you so much for stopping by, Geeks. Please make sure to continue to check out Sylvia's cool designs. Where can we find more about your designs, your awesome clothes?
So thanks, and thank you for having me. You can go to our website, and you can find us on Instagram. It's Heisel_co.
Please find us on YouTube and subscribe. I'm Ava Ramito, your host here at GEEK of CHIC. Find out more about Sylvia in our vaults. You can find her info, her website, everything to stay up to date on the geekiness. And remember, stay geeky.